Let's start with crude oil, because crude oil, of course, is the one that we all focus on. It's such an early mover and an indication of broader trends in the market. It's been stuck in that $59, $60 a barrel level.
Yeah, it really has been, and it's the thing that people look at the most besides gold, and it really is following the dollar at the moment. It's the broader based indicators, the dollar, interest rates. So we really have to look at some of the other commodities to get a bigger story.
So it's getting caught up in the macro headwinds, and it may not be the most interesting leading indicator of everything else. So why don't we go to commodities overall and perhaps look at gasoline. Now, you were looking at it in terms of a longer-term context so far this year.
Yep. So basically, gasoline is the best performer this year, and if you look at the chart that we have up, you'll see that it is far surpassed any of the other commodities. And I think it's really interesting because it shows an emerging market growth story in commodities.
And there's the chart, by the way, and this is what you manage, Carolyn, right? This is CRR Go on the Bloomberg terminal.
Right, and it's what investors in the commodity space really look at. And so, within the Bloomberg Commodity Index, we have all those components. And we look at where the movers are, because people want to see where that performance is.
And this, you say, is linked to emerging markets, not so much the United States. I thought that the story on emerging markets is that it's gloom and doom and they're not doing as well.
Exactly. And so this is a really positive story, because you'll see Asian economies are actually using a lot of gasoline. So the demand is way up. So specifically China, which is moving from in terms of their vehicle usage, tractors, industrial type vehicles, to more consumer vehicles.
And the distinction there is that those industrial vehicles use diesel.
Yes.
And the consumer vehicles, the Mercedes, the Maybachs, the $230,000 Maybachs, they use unleaded gasoline.
Yep, and there's a lot of demand for that. So
that has not ended anytime soon.
No. So they're competing with us, in terms of that gasoline demand.
Gotcha. All right, well, let's look on the flip side. If gasoline is the best performing commodity so far this year, up more than 45%, what are you looking at as the worst performer?
Yeah, so interestingly, and you mentioned yesterday, was coffee. And that's actually been, I'd say, a correction of a supply imbalance that happened first quarter of 14, where we had a serious weather event disrupted supply. And the fact is that supply has come back to the market a lot faster than people anticipated. So actually, coffee prices have gone down a lot. However, that's not the whole story.
Tell us a little bit more about that, because we always blame weather for the soft commodities. And I mean, my initial instinct is to think that that's a cop-out, but it isn't, because it's really difficult to get your head around all of this.
Yeah, weather is, I think we can all, feel close to like what's happening with the weather. And going into July, that is our most, the month that we have to look at the most when we look at crops.
Right.
So it could really surprise on coffee. So it could move from the lowest performer this year to a much better rank.
And it's very difficult for people to get a handle on what the forecasts are. There isn't really any benchmark, is there?
Yeah, no, that's a huge point. It is coffee, or the soft commodities, are the most opaque of the opaque. So commodities are, quite a hard asset class to understand. If you look at coffee specifically, there are no economic reports, so no supply and demand information out there. So it's really like the guess of the market participants.
Stabbing in the dark. All right, Carolyn Abramo, thank you so much. Good thing we have you here to help us sift through all of this. Carolyn Abramo is the manager of the Bloomberg Commodity Index, and she will be joining us on Fridays for the Commodity Close.